Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Brian. Today we're going to be getting back to my Porsche 912. It's been buried in the garage here with all kinds of other stuff. So I need to get it back out and get it back on the road. I put it in here because I had some carburetor problems. I think I got that sorted out. I bought some parts last year I had to dig through and find, so I need to get them replaced and we'll go for a ride. I have a shifter rod bushing to put in. Also a new clutch cable. The clutch, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. I'm sure it's stretched, I'm sure it's original. And the shifter's a little floppy and I'm pretty sure this bushing's gone. So, I need to get some stuff cleared out of here so I can get around it. I'll get it lifted up to work on the clutch cable. And then we'll get inside the car, work on the shifter bushing. Okay, so I thought I had solved my audio problems by purchasing a new camera. Originally thought it was the microphone, but apparently the microphone dies. This camera doesn't tell you. It doesn't have an output on the screen, so you have to look at the lights, and apparently I neglected that. So anyway, to get the shifter out, you need to pull up the rubber mat covering it, which don't remember if that's supposed to be two pieces or not, or if it's broken, but anyway, take that. And then there's a combination of 10mm and 13mm bolt heads under here. You also have to unscrew the knob for the heater control leather. So once you get those bolts out of there, the whole shifter will pull up out of there. You have to kind of fish it around the lever, the heat control lever in the front. And it also kind of captures the heat control lever and this shifter bushing we're after. So this pink thing on the bottom, this is the round cup that goes on the bottom of the shifter itself. It's kind of a ball socket deal, so I've replaced that socket. That goes down in this cup right here with the square end. It's not really held in, it just shoves in. And then there is a Allen screw, kind of like a set screw on the side of this cup that attaches it to the shifter rod. And I believe it's a 4mm, and it is not easy to get out of there. There's just not any rooms. You have to use an old school Allen wrench to get it kind of broken free. And then at this point I was able to twist it out with my fingers, and then you can pull that whole cup. There's a picture of the shot of the screw. Then that whole cup comes up out of there, and then you can slide this bracket that holds the shifter rod bushing in. You can see there's no bushing at all in that metal piece, and there are just little bits and pieces of it in the bottom of the tunnel here. So now we're at the workbench. Here is the bushing I used. Fits 914s, 911s, I think up till 83 or so is what it said. You can see this is the direction it was facing by how the I guess the coating sort of worn off the steel. So this thing's fairly stiff, but it's not stiff enough you can't work it in there with a screwdriver. So I just kind of jammed it in and then kind of worked that lip down as far as it would go without putting the screwdriver through my finger. And then I was finally able to get it all the way and kind of just pushed the last little piece in, and it pretty much popped in there. It was ready to go back in the car. I filmed any of this in silent mode, I'm sorry. Now we should be able to slide this back on the rod. Put the cup back on. So this is made in such a fashion that you can't just loosen the set screw, you have to take the whole thing out. So this could be a little bit of a challenge. But it can be done.
This is slightly starting to piss me off, so we'll do the hack method. Feels pretty tight. We'll give it one more shot with the Allen. There's the hex key. There we go, it finally went in, and it is tight. Okay, honestly, we should be pretty much good to go at this point to put this back together. And the heater control little plate is captured, and as well as this, it's captured by the shifter. So you just kind of got to line it all up. Start your bolts. All right. Oh, that is way more precise. Probably so much more precise that we might have to adjust the shift coupling. Yeah, second gear might be kind of hard to get right now. But reverse. First is easy. We'll just have to play with it. So that's back together. As I mentioned in the intro, the clutch feels a little spongy, almost like the cable stretched. And I think I'm out of adjustment. So I have this clutch cable to go in. Looks like it fits 65 to 69. Looks like it's threaded on both ends. Not really sure what the difference is. Looks like there's more threads on one than the other. We'll have to get the toe board out to get to that end, the pedal end. Then we'll have to get under the car. So let me go ahead and I already have this on the lift. We can raise it. Under the car, that nut, just an 11 millimeter. Which has just enough muck on it. I can't turn it by hand. So it's quite possible I don't have an 11 millimeter ratchet wrench, which wouldn't be surprising. It's kind of an oddball size. And it doesn't look like I can get a ratchet in there, so we'll just do this one old school. I've possibly backed it up far enough. I can do this. Let's try to not drop anything on the new camera. So that was pretty much used up. So now let's go to the other end. Down here under the dash, there's a little leather strap that holds the floor mat in. And you've got to wrestle it over the pedal pads. And then there's a little ball end on the gas pedal that pops out. 10mm nut holds the wood floor in if it doesn't break off. I've been in here recently, so it just looks a little surface rusty. And this board should come out of here. I may have to take the pedal pads off. I don't remember exactly. I just remember it's a pain. So there's an adjustment stop here for the clutch that I guess is going to have to come out to get this out of here the rest of the way, because it does not appear to want to come otherwise. And pull the pedal pads off, that might help a little. That appears to be another 4mm Allen. And that is slotted, so that should open the hole up enough. There we go. That's in relatively good shape for being original. Pretty sure I'm not going to be able to film too much of this action. But that's the clutch. So that clevis and pin has to come out of there. So I think that this will pop off and that'll allow that pin to come out, and that should free it from the linkage, and then we'll have to figure out how to fish it out of there. So let me work on that, because there's no way I'll be able to show you that. So I got the clevis off. I think the only way to get this out of the car is pull it from the back. Let's hope we can shove it back through here, and I don't take the shifter right back out. So I would hope this will just pull out of here. Yeah, you would hope that. There we went. She's pretty slimy too, so it wasn't lack of grease. Now, where's she sticking? Let me see if I can get this tube push out. So it's not that it just pulled all the grease out with it. It's not that it's that big on that end. Ugh. There's a comparison of old versus new. Doesn't appear to be any stretch in the old one, but I'm sure that kink right there didn't help anything. And at least it only goes in one direction. All that on the clutch pedal end is M6 or 10mm nuts. Looks like this end at the clutch itself is probably M7, so it has an 11mm nut. So let's see if that'll jam back in there. Go ahead and pop this back in the transmission. Here goes. Oh well, didn't even want to start. Great. Now it's gonna not want to go through that end. Oh, there it went. So far, so good. Well, that was incredibly easy. I can buzz that on at least a little bit. some. There's the other nut. So up here at the foot end, there should be cable, and it is right there. Can't see it, but it's right there. So I may go push it up a little further, maybe block the clutch a little bit forward and try to get all that back together. And as when I took it out, there's no way you're gonna be able to see that. So I'll bring it back when I have that sorted together. Now that I have it attached at the pedal in the car, I can go ahead and adjust this up. And it turns way easier on new threads. Go ahead and test the free play in the car. That's way too much, so we need to take some more of that. I think we're getting close. Does seem like a lot of threads hanging out though. The manual calls for 3/4 to 1 inch or 20 to 25 millimeters of free play. We're probably right about there. We may be a little on the more 1 inch side, so I'll give that about 2 more turns, then we'll lock it down. All right, and I feel that's like about 3/4 of an inch or 20 or so millimeters. All right, now I can put everything else back together. I'm gonna call that good enough. All right, so I feel like I'm ready to go. I also feel like I'm probably gonna have to adjust the shifter. Yeah, I'm definitely have to adjust the shifter because reverse is where first should be. So to adjust the shifter, I need to loosen up this pinch clamp and separate these two. Basically pull the splines out and then get in a known gear and then turn the shift rod up at the shifter to the right position and then slide it back on. It's not normally easy because that spline count is so fine. It takes a lot of hit or miss attempts. So the transmission should be in first gear. So now I need to pull the shifter out. And sometimes it's just completely hit or miss. So that should be reversed. We'll try it that way. We'll get this over where reverse should be, up here at the shifter. Slide that back together. First, second, third, fourth. Let's try that again. I think that's adjusted. Let's give it another shot. right, we went forward. Right in second, nice. All right, we made it back from a successful test drive. Finally got the shifter sorted out where it's pretty much right. And I feel like that big kink in the clutch cable, if you can even see it, that big kink right there may have had some effect on it. It feels like it works better. So anyway, I think I'll give this a bath, hose it off. I'll probably hose myself off too because it's hot as blazes today. Thanks for watching. See you next time.